One of the major jobs of a director in modern time is sort of an interpretive artist. So a playwright has a very, at least in the last 200 years, the playwright is the person who sets things down, perhaps in collaboration with a producing team that says this is what we kind of want to produce, but normally it's the playwright driving the inception of a piece unless it is a devised piece, and then the director's job is to interpret what the playwright wrote. There's a lot of wiggle room as to what that interpretation is, and one of the main thrusts, because we're dealing with a whole bunch of different elements, both design and actor and producers, that a director's job is to try and make a cohesive whole out of all of those elements, so that an audience comes in and it doesn't feel jarring, like somehow or other these pieces don't fit together. A director's job is that outside eye to see what or how all those pieces fit together. Concept is one way to sort of choose something and communicate that to all of your team. A director, sometimes I was taught, comes up with a metaphor for a play. So something like, let's say something like Enemy for the People that you all read. A director can say, okay, Enemy for the People is, and some of you actually did this in your exams, which I thought was really thrilling. Enemy for the People is a glass of dirty water. Right, and then designers can go, okay, I can take that and I can make the color scheme this, and I can light it this way, and everyone will be sort of dingy and sweaty in their costumes, right? So you can make all sorts of visual and aesthetic choices out of that metaphor. Another thing you can do, and some of you did this in your exam, is that you set it in an entirely different place from where the play might initially have been set. This would certainly be a departure from purely interpreting the playwright's work, and we see that a lot with Shakespeare. We see that a lot with older plays trying to recontextualize older texts that we want to fit or make it feel more modern. And directors are normally the ones that make that call, and then design teams take that ball and run with it, and actors need to fit into the thing as well. We're going to take a look at two different interpretations of Sweeney Todd. This is a musical by Stephen Sondheim. We're going to take a look at the original production, which was directed by and produced by a guy named Harold Prince, a very famous director-producer. He actually was one of the creative producers that would also make sure that the aesthetic side of it wasn't just getting the money together, it was also seeing the artistic vision come to fruition. He directed the initial production of Sweeney Todd, and he set it in a factory. It was very squarely in Victorian England, and it would be early Victorian, so it would have been early 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. And so everything is pretty exaggerated, everyone's pretty dirty, everyone's sort of gaunt in the design of the thing, and it's pretty static. We have folks standing and singing and what we call park and bark, and there's some, he likes to use surprise. We'll take a look at the Ballad of Sweeney Todd. This is the opening of the number. And then the second video that you'll watch is from a director named John Doyle, who directed the same show, Sweeney Todd, in 2006. This is Michael Service and Patti LuPone in the lead roles. I wanted to find a really good video of the Ballad of Sweeney Todd so you could really squarely compare and contrast. There's not a whole lot of good videos on YouTube that way for this particular production, so it is the Tony Awards where it's a bit of a mashup of a bunch of different numbers, but they begin with the Ballad of Sweeney Todd. But you can see John Doyle was actually famously known for doing Stephen Sondheim adaptations where the actors would play all the instruments. Because Stephen Sondheim wrote large-scale or large-cast musicals very often, one of the ways to make those make the money go as far as you can is have the actors play all the instruments, and that was a fun thing that John Doyle would do. I've seen that done with Sweeney Todd. I've seen it done with Cabaret. John Doyle also did a company in the same way. Some similarities because the source material is what it is, but the other striking thing that John Doyle did was he set the play in an insane asylum that one of the remaining characters who survived the play, so spoiler alert, Toby is incarcerated, is an inmate in an insane asylum, and that is the setting for the play. So instead of a factory, it's set in an insane asylum, and somehow or other that has a bearing on the tone of the piece. So enjoy 2 interpretations of Sweeney Todd.